Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Niko, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How's it going?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Ready to talk about another great week of comics here, guys. And this is our weekly comic book review show here. We're on episode 220 for Comic Shop Talk. Make sure to like and subscribe. And this is our weekly show where we come and talk about the comics that we read every week. We give you our quick thoughts or reviews on it, some ratings, and sometimes we even show off the art, and sometimes we talk about some comic book news, tell you what we're looking forward to picking up next week, all kinds of great stuff. Make sure to check out the playlist. Make sure to check out some of our other content here on the Late Night Chat Network. All kinds of different things that we got here, different videos, different hosts. Today we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of March 4th, 2026. And as I mentioned, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Everybody out there, hit us up in the comments. And spoiler warning, of course. As I mentioned, we are going to get into the art. We're going to show that off. We're going to tell you, probably what's going to happen in the books here today. We try our best with some spoilers, but in order to kind of properly rate these things, we do got to talk about them. So if you're worried about that, you can always read your books and come back in another time. All right, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. First up on the docket here today, we got DCKO number 5, the conclusion of this event, this miniseries. What did you think of this, Chris?
Well, I guess that's where the rubber sort of hits the road. Oh, nice cover. Hopefully I got that one. I had that on my pull list.
Dan Warren Johnson.
It goes. And, I think the sort of the fun of this series is ended here. And I guess, the DC machine has to get back to business. And that's what I felt like this comic was about. But, it did present it in a decent way. I didn't really mind the story. At the end of the DCKO 4, it looks like Lex Luthor has sort of become the King Omega. And, in the first few pages, you got Lex Luthor there, sort of trying to rally all his power. He's getting ready to fight Darkseid. And then out of nowhere, they have this, Superman and Time Trapper. And he explains how, Doomsday isn't the end. He's the beginning and the end. And that whole baloney story with what's going on there. But anyways, he kind of sends Superman into the fray, and like Lex Luthor basically just turns to dust.
Yeah,
I thought that was okay. Well, it was gonna be Superman fighting him at the end, and the fight was okay. They kind of battle around, and they start fighting, I guess, on different levels of reality, and then they're fighting through time, and they're going back in time, and Superman, I think he says he's playing possum at one point because Darkseid takes him right back to the beginning of the universe, and Superman uses the energy of the Big Bang to power him up to beat Darkseid. And then I think it goes into a whole bunch of other stories that in all the other multiverses, the same thing is going on, and Darkseid is grabbing some power. And this isn't over yet, and I think they tease, I guess, the next crisis event of absolute crisis. This is, I don't know if this is gonna be good or not. I haven't been a big fan of their last crisis event. They seem to be kind of running their course, but who knows? Maybe they got something in the tank for this. And then it just kind of goes on to, I guess, tease all the DC next level and how the rest of the DC universe is going to be sort of panning out from here. It sounds like after this, a lot of new heroes or older heroes or legacy heroes might end up with some new powers and things like that. So, it reminds me of almost like those Timeless books where they're just kind of teasing the future of like a little roadmap for DC for the next year. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, this wasn't bad. I think you hit the nail on the head when you basically said, like the lead up in these events, like the actual all the fun moments of all the fighting that occurred with it, between characters and some of the tie-in stuff. I feel like that happened prior to this conclusion was the more fun kind of part of this event and the more enjoyable stuff. And like you said, now we're at the point where we do have to wrap everything up. So I thought it was a satisfying conclusion, though. I mean, it didn't get too fancy. Didn't get too confusing. They obviously were talking about, I mean, there's this whole moment where, they are fighting through time and space, and they're talking about omega energies and alpha energies and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, all you need to know is Superman basically defeated Darkseid. Everything went back to the way it was. But then in the epilogue, as Chris alluded to, there is that whole absolute universe thing. He had mentioned that there's, within all the multiverses during this whole time, there was other people fighting and vying for their own King Omegas in their own universes. I think this is what I got my understanding of it anyways was. And during that period of time, he was feeding off the energy of those other universes. So even though he lost this battle, he didn't lose the war, it seems like. Is that like he's been over here getting more powerful despite having lost to Superman in this one fight? And the next time he reemerges, he's alluding to the fact that, like you said, with the absolute crisis, which is again like another crisis event, it seems like like a crisis on infinite earths for the absolute universe or something like that. It seems like with all the different multiverses, he's alluding to the fact that he'll come back stronger. So that's still kind of, he's still in the rafters there. He's still kind of, in the background here of the DCU. And, I guess we'll see when he pops back up again, whenever they want to do another event a year from now or whatever. But for now, this was solid. I don't think this was like a big game changer in any way, but it was fun while it lasted. I'm not mad at it whatsoever. I've read terrible events in comparison to this. This was fun for the most part. So, yeah. What'd you give this, Chris, a rating?
I give it a 3.75. I didn't appreciate the sort of the switch or the bait and switch, and kind of, you didn't kind of keep the whole sort of KO battle going all the way to the end, and, and just kind of let things work itself out somehow in other issues. But overall, I'd give the series a 4. I thought it was a fun series to read. Just having all those fights with all the characters, I thought that was great stuff. And the art's been decent all the way through.
Yeah, the art's been good. Yeah, you know what? I agree with your ratings. I'd also give this a 3.75 and the whole thing a 4, because in the middle there, especially, it was a lot of fun. There was even some fun tie-in issues. I mean, if there's going to be a collection of this coming out, you may want to check it out. I mean, it's, again, I think it's better than most of these type of events. Like, you go in just understanding it's gonna, you'll get a complete story out of this. You'll have some fun moments with some characters you might enjoy, but it's again, it's not one of those. It's not a game changer in any way. Speaking of games, though, I forgot we didn't talk about this part. I know we were kind of. Did this annoy you? How they showed you that this board game that they were playing was in their own little universe set up by the time traveler this whole time? Like,
well, I think this whole thing was all in some pocket universe, right. So none of this is really happening.
Right.
So I didn't enjoy that. At the end, you find out that this is all in some pocket universe. That was kind of baloney. I kind of took the wind out of the sails, let's say.
Yeah, I thought you wouldn't have loved that, because I remember we had talked about that, and we kind of both alluded to, like, I don't know what's going on with these board games. We kind of were like,
win the board game, and then they see Dark's like, I'm melting.
Yeah, I actually am. I'm actually happier that it was what it was instead of it being a flashback.
Yeah,
if that makes sense, because the flashbacks I'm not a big fan of when they do that kind of stuff, and the fact that it was like all the way to the end is just like, really, like, why? What was the point of having this flashback? Just to show them the way they think during a board game, which you could have done for like one issue, but to have it go on this whole time and then reveal at the end, oh, this is what was really going on. I was like, okay, yeah, I wasn't upset by it. I thought it was fine. So but I would have been more pissed off if it was like strictly a flashback this whole time of them playing a game, right? Just to like compare how they think to the event. So yeah, not bad. All right. Another ending this week here. We got Avengers 36, which I think this marks the end of Jed McKay's Avengers run. What did you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, so I don't know why I bothered reading this. I thought this might be leading into maybe the new Avengers and kind of getting something. But what this was basically just Captain Marvel, meeting with all the different Avengers and saying, hey, I think I'm going to step down, and what do you think? And course, what it did. They think nothing. It's freaking baloney. Yeah, that's all I can say about this. There was nothing.
Not only that, though, I don't know if I've ever seen this done. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, folks out there. If hit us up in the comments, I don't recall a member ever also, if they're stepping down and running the team, they basically just do away with the whole team. What the hell was that? I thought the rosters before, they used to keep some people used to you know what I mean? I don't think I've ever witnessed that where she's like, well, I'm stepping down, so we're basically gonna get rid of this whole roster. I was like, and then they didn't even give you that because of course they want to launch a new book at some point with the new roster and that whole thing. But
they couldn't even give you who at least the leader is going to be. Nothing.
Right.
They just left it open. It just.
Not only that, Chris, they left the Kang storyline open at the end. It looks like he's stuck in prison at the end, and then he has like a one-up in the epilogue there.
Yeah, it's even worse. This
36
destroyed the whole issue. This whole scene becomes worthless.
Right.
Because of this, it seems like right from the get-go, this was planned to be like a 30, 40 issue run. And, he already knew how it was going to end before it even got through it. And like you say, even that stuff with Kang. Oh, Kang's, he's finished. Looks like he's depowered. He's nothing. He's stuck in jail. All these guys are getting him. And, he seemed like a broken down guy. And then all of a sudden, well, maybe not. I'll give it one more go. And then he decides to fight back. And all those people in jail are going to be his minions again or something. Get out of here.
Yeah, that was what was even more upsetting to me was that you couldn't even put an end to the storyline with Kang, which basically existed and worked its way throughout this 36 issue storyline that you had during this run. This run was terrible.
I think you were in this Twilight Court. Oh, thank you for showing us the way. Now we're going to go fly the stars in our impossible city or Camelot.
Yeah.
All trash.
Yeah. So, I did not enjoy this run. We definitely, I think I read majority of it, honestly, but every time we came back to this book and dipped in and dipped out, I think I came back with the same opinion of it. This is just one of the lesser efforts I've read by Jed MacKay. I would even argue his X-Men is better in comparison to this. This is probably one of the weakest titles I've read by Jed MacKay, if not the weakest. Not a good Avengers writer. I think this run will go down as very forgettable in the history books of Avenger runs, essentially. So, and then you want to talk about, people complain about writing for the arc and writing these types of stories that are so spread out, and and this is like the worst example of that. Like barely anything happens. I mean, it so much so a couple of issues ago, remember there was a whole issue where they had to touch on all these things that happened during the issue.
I think that was the first of this sort of 3-issue finale. It's like touched on all the great things that happened during this run. And, we're just even looking back, oh yeah, maybe I'm judging this too harshly. But, this last issue here just brings it right home and says, no, you're not.
Yeah. What'd you give this?
Yeah, it's like a 3. 3.25. The art's okay.
No, I probably still give it a 3. I want to go lower. For the run, I'm going to give it like a 2.5. I honestly am. I think for the run, the run as a whole is very unsatisfying. Like, I'm probably going to just give it straight down the middle, 2.5 out of 5. This ending issue, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, never mind writing, issues for the, for the arc. These were like 5 arcs that were terrible.
Yeah.
That was, these arcs were terrible for the run. Like, they took it to a whole new level. Like, you can put up with 5 bad issues or 6 bad issues, if they're writing for the trade.
Yeah.
And this is 5 bad arcs to write for the omnibus, or I don't even know what you call it. Like whatever they put these 35 issues together.
Yeah,
I wouldn't buy them.
No. Next up, another finale here this week. Daredevil, Punisher, Trigger Warnings, number 5.
Yeah, this one it's been an okay series. I think they spent a bit too much time on the ideological differences between Punisher and Daredevil. But in this one here, it seems at least they let each guy kind of run their course. You know, they're staking out this whatever, I guess some mansion, and all the bad guys are in there, the Ganucci family, and basically they're okay, we're gonna go take them out, and it's I guess Daredevil goes through the roof and Punisher goes through the bottom floor, and Punisher does it his way, and Daredevil does it his way, and Punisher just rolls through everybody and kills them all. And basically, Daredevil like, hey, we got to try and not save these people, but just arrest them so we can figure everything out and get everybody responsible for this. Either way, the villains, there seem to be one step ahead. It's a bit of a trap for both of them. They run into some panic room thinking they're safe, but of course, there are two heroes there just roll through their highly trained mercenaries, and they take off to a helicopter. I do like that line where the helicopter is taken off, and Daryl's like, "Oh, we're just too late." And the Punisher, maybe you are. He just pulls out the gun and just blows up that helicopter. And then they start complaining that the judge got away, and then of course he shows up, and you think Daredevil's gonna sort of his point of view might win the day. But it turns out at the end, I think it sounds like some other crime family just ended up wiping him out anyway because he knows too much information. Or maybe the Punisher did it, a couple days later. But it is what it is, and I think it's a good Punisher story. With Daredevil there to counterbalance it. So I had no complaints.
Yeah, this was fine. I liked it the whole way through. It kept my interest. I don't regret buying the issues. It's been a nice period to kind of get back into Punisher comics with them having 3 ongoing little mini series or series happening at the same time. And the only complaint I'll say is what you kind of touched on too, is that, I think at this point, 5 issues in, the after driving the point home before the ideological differences between these two characters, it kind of felt like they were almost kind of rehashing every situation, their approach every issue, which they kind of were. There was some nice twists and turns in the middle of the story, though, I thought that were added to the overall storyline and the conclusion here, which were enjoyable. And the art was fine. Like the art, again, nothing too special to write home about, but it was very serviceable, did the job. And I don't regret reading this. I thought it was decent. So
yeah. At the end they had they advertised, Punisher's coming out with his new #1, Daredevil's coming out with new #1.
Right.
And if both characters are sort of following this sort of blueprint of their character, I think it was, it's a good sort of advertisement for those series, because Daredevil's been, his last run hasn't been my favorite. And, Punisher has been sort of, his last run, whatever it was just like straight up wacky. And then, they tried to kind of change the Punisher. It looks like they're getting him back to basics, which is encouraging to see.
Yeah.
I give this, I give it 3.75, maybe the run itself a 4.
I was going to go 3.75 on both, probably the issue and the run, but close to a 4 for me. I mean, I did enjoy it the whole way through, but, I probably would give it a 4 if the artist was a bit better. I thought the art was fine, but it wasn't like an artist that like wowed me, I'll say. But it was, again, serviceable the whole way through. It wasn't bad. It just like wasn't a name that I'm familiar with, right? So
yeah, I'm just happy they didn't destroy either character, which they've done in previous series.
No, I was pretty confident on this because Jimmy Palmiotti was writing it, and he worked on the Marvel Knights era of Punisher with Garth Ennis back in the day. So like he was a guy where I'm like, okay, if he's writing it, they're getting people that have written him during a period that the character was good. So I was pretty confident about that. Really, like between all 3 miniseries that have come out, like the Dan Panosian one and this one and the new Benjamin Percy one, they've really given me no evidence that they're not doing that version of the character. There really has been no reason to think that at this point. So yeah, I'm pretty happy we're kind of back in a place where they're celebrating the character as we kind of know him to be, not like some new take on him, right? So, which again, you're always going to see new takes on the characters. That is part of comics because they're trying to kind of keep whatever interest of how many years of them writing these stories. But Not to the point where it's fundamentally changing the character. You know what I mean? Like to the point where you don't recognize him, or it's like such a wacky take, which Punisher's had a few. That last one is probably, honestly, if I'm looking back at some shit that they've done to the Punisher, that might not even rank number one with some of the shit that they've done to this guy. Like, so that's all I'll say about that. I've read a lot of his older comics. At one point, he turns into an angel, Chris. At one point, he turns into a Frankenstein's monster. So there's been a lot of weird things they've done with the Punisher, right? So there you go. Right next up here, though, another conclusion this week: Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rites of Spring #6.
This is something I think you need to read in a trade, or just get all these issues, because you want to read these issues back to back, because this is good stuff. I think in the last issue, I didn't know how this bear, whatever Samantha, was going to be getting out of things, and basically she just ends up blowing up the whole town, and just seeing the fallout from that. Like all these little side characters that were in the story, I thought they'd have something more to do with the end, but basically all they did was, like that turtle guy, they spent a lot of time on him, and he didn't really have much to do anything. He just came to that old age home, whatever, and saved some of those old people and got him out of there. But, there's that mother that was on drugs, and she's in rehab, and it looks like she might be ready to clean herself up after this. But in the main story, just that whole town goes on fire. You hear it on the news, and then she escapes. And then she seems to be out in the middle of nowhere, and she runs into some gas station. What does she ask? Oh, there's some people up here? He goes, oh, yeah, there's like there's a clan of like 50 people that live down that kind of live down the ways there. You can just see, well, I don't feel good for those 50 people out there. Sooner or later, I think they're all going to be dead.
Yeah, it was hard to top the crazy place that they left us the last issue. I don't necessarily think they did, but they still concluded this series on a really interesting note. They definitely could continue with her adventures in the future somewhere, or wherever she's going to terrorize next, the way they left this series. So they did still leave it in a very interesting spot, just with the conclusion of the last issue of her basically shooting the cops and killing some people.
Yeah, you thought she's finished.
And then, like you said, like in a way, they did really just continue the chaos here with her burning everything down to the ground. She even ran into other people still that didn't know she was a killer in the town in this issue. There's one point where the guy's like, hey, your place is on fire. Let me help you. And he gets out of the car, and then she stabs this guy. And she cuts his throat open. So she's literally killing on the run in this issue. And like there's even this whole thing where she talks to the character where she's like, oh, you should have left it alone, like the one that basically was investigating her brother's death or whatever. Yeah. And she left her. Did she burn alive, or was she still alive possibly at the end there? She left her alive. She
might be alive, yeah, because she left her alive, but like in a burning building. I think somebody came to save her, or they heard the noise or something.
And the way they kind of left the relationship between those two people, she like by the end of it, she was like super interested in this person. Like she like fascinated her, like the way that she was. So like, I think their paths could cross again somewhere if they do more series, where this has been a big hit. I haven't heard anything about him concluding this. I wouldn't think he would, honestly. The fact that this has been a really big hit for this for the Patrick Horvath, the creator behind this. So, and the way he ended it, she's still alive and she's still out there. So,
at the very least, this is a trilogy then, and probably even more.
Again, though, at the end of both of these series, I'm like, I don't really know where they're gonna go with this, but I'm in. It's been interesting. It's been a hell of a ride this whole time. So, and I agree with Chris. I think if you read the trade of this, you'll get a lot out of this. This is like a hearty meal of a trade, honestly. Like you'll get it's a well-rounded, story for a trade. Like you'll get a complete crazy story in this one with a slow build. And that's kind of how we experienced it in issues, honestly. I think both experiences actually are good for this series. But yeah, I actually, this is one of those ones I double dip on. I have the first trade, and I'll probably get this trade as well, because I do like this series a lot. So yeah, I will say I like this one better than the first one, because the first one I was like, oh yeah, this is just basically like Dexter, and I was like, it's fine. But then like with this second series, they really took us like places with the character there. I'm like, I didn't think it was going to get that crazy. So yeah, good stuff. What'd you give this?
I got a 4, no problem.
Same, 4 out of 5. Same with the series. I'd probably even give the series a 4.25 out of 5.
I agree.
Yeah, because I don't think they topped that last issue for me in terms of like how crazy it was at the end, but this was a solid ending as well. So good stuff. All right, then I got a couple of stuff I read here this week. X-Men Annual #1. Actually, first off, let me show these off first. We're not talking about it on the show here today. This is facsimiles that they came out with for Marvel Team Up 14. This is when Robert Kirkman still did stuff with Marvel Comics. I think he was working with Marvel, and he had already started his like series over at Image at this point in time, like Invincible and Walking Dead. So he actually did a crossover of Invincible and Spider-Man in Marvel Team Up, which he was writing at the time. So this is a reprint, but with this reprint for the facsimile, they actually got some people to do variant covers. So of course you got the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man and Invincible, which I had to pick that up because, you know, McFarlane doesn't really draw Spider-Man anymore these days. So that was really cool to pick up. And then, of course, I had to get Ryan Otley's variant as well because, you know, that is the main artist on Invincible after Cory Walker. Cory Walker actually started the series, kind of like Tony Moore did with Walking Dead and then stepped away. But he's the one that actually drew this issue for Marvel. I have the original of this issue as well. But it's not like a great condition copy, but that's why I picked up these variant covers. So cool ones. Yeah, you got the McFarlane as well, probably, right, Chris?
Yeah, I got my pull list. Hope to get it there.
Okay. But yeah, this is X-Men Annual #1. I kind of disregarded this because there's like a lot of annuals we don't normally read here on the show, especially if it's not by the same creators. But this was a good one. This was a surprise. I might have to seek this out and pick up a copy if I see it out in the wild here, because this was written by Ryan Stegman with some art by Ryan Stegman, as well as some art by Steve Scroce and Sanford Green. So they're all artists I like. And you know, Stegman's writing it, so he's just doing like a different story for the annual. And it's just really like, this is like classic annual territory, the type of story that they tell in here. It's a story about the X-Men coming across a mutant that's called the Cartoonist. And it gets like really meta, where the cartoonist, his mutant power is basically he can draw things into existence, essentially. And you learn this backstory about him being a mutant back with them when they went to Xavier School for Mutants. And he couldn't hack it. Like, he was afraid to kind of push himself to continue to be with them while he was there. So he left the school, and I guess they've lost track of him. And during this period of time, now he's coming back and he's trying to like mess with the X-Men now, because I guess he's upset with them or pissed at them because, you know, he wasn't able to kind of become an X-Men or, you know, stick with it essentially. So they start fighting like this, like, I don't know, like kaiju monster or whatever that's coming to life. And as they're kind of fighting it, they'll like take off an arm, and then you see like the actual pencils of the art like getting redrawn in the panel. It's just a really cool creative idea that a bunch of artists, all three of these guys are artists, and Stegman also writes as well. Steve Scroce has written as well. Like, but all three of these guys are kind of write themselves into the comic. I believe the cartoonist is Steve Scroce in this. I don't know what he looks like, but the other two guys that he's got strapped up the drawing boards in this issue that are assisting him, he's kind of got them by these like under these helmets, are definitely Ryan Stegman and Sanford Green. So that's it. Again, it's just very meta, it's very like, tongue in cheek, like, we're in on the joke, like the fact that they're the artists. It's kind of cool. I really like it. Just as an idea. And so I have to assume the cartoonist, because he draws most of this issue, is Steve Scroce, but the other artists kind of jump in, like Stegman does some stuff, and so does Sanford Green. And at one point, like they draw the X-Men onto a page, and they make the X-Men go to their cartoonist so they can take him out. Like, the artist had enough. And then Stegman and Sanford, I think they even refer to each other by their names or something. They're like, hey, want to get out of here, go grab a bite to eat, or something. They basically just leave. Like, so it was just a fun one and done issue with some really good art. And I thought, it was fun dialogue. I think Stegman did a pretty good job here. So, and I really like these scenes. Like, again, you got to see, like, there's moments where you just see the raw black and white pencils. And in these scenes, it's Stegman's art. So you get to see like the art kind of layered on top of each other, different artist styles. and kind of like different pages are drawn by different artists, and they all worked really well together. So I got to give it up to them. This was a really cool, fun idea for an annual. I give this 4 out of 5. And if I see the issue out there, I'm going to definitely pick this up. Just a really cool, creative idea for a one-shot annual with good art. So I'm here for it. Next up, we got Batman Green Arrow, The Question Arcadia, number 3. I think there's one more issue to go of this. This is a DC Black Label by Gabriel Hardman. He's writing and drawing this one. I got to say, I still don't love the story in this. The art, on the other hand, has been great, so I'm happy about that at the very least. It's just been a confusing story. Like, the fact that all 3 of these people are crossing paths has been because of some sort of like company that Batman was working for, and Green Arrow and The Question basically came there for different reasons, and they all collectively figured out that these guys are crooked and they're up to some shit, and this is them basically realizing that this last issue, and then all coming together in this one and teaming up to take down this corporation. So, like, in the moment, it was just a very confusing, like, again, like, there's just all these moving pieces to the storyline and the characters and their reasoning to be there, that I don't know if this was one of the more well-written things I've read by Gabriel Hardman. He usually writes and draws his own things in more recent years. So I don't know. Again, I think this gets by a lot due to the art, due to the cool characters involved. By the end of the issue, I was like, okay, we're kind of wrapping up now, and I'm getting a handle sort of on the story, but still nothing to write home about in terms of the story. So I'll give it a 3.5 because I really like the characters and art involved. But yeah, I'd give it less if I was just basing it on the story. That's what's given the bump here. One more issue to go, though. I'll be picking it up. Batgirl 17. This is one of those issues that like they're doing as a good jumping on point, I guess. I kind of jumped off the last couple of issues because, again, the last storyline was getting a little long in the tooth. And then it seems like one of the lasting things that happened from the last storyline when she fought all these other like ninja family people, and then there was like some blood ninja people that she fought as well. Something happened to her, and now her blood is cursed, and her blood is basically become like a weapon of sorts. Like, it's coming out of her, and it's almost like looks like symbiotish, and she's basically using like this like blood magic or blood, like, I don't know, like kung fu type shit now where she's controlling her blood. It's very strange. I don't know. I don't know about this whole thing. And then her brother, now she's found out she's got a brother. And at the start of the issue, she was getting ready to go over to hang out with the Bat family, and she didn't want to bring her newly discovered stepbrother with her. And she's like, I don't know if he's ready for that yet. I don't know if I'm ready to bring other family into it because, like, I took me so long to kind of get good with the Bat family, and I don't want to complicate things. And he's like, I don't know. And so, like, there's a whole thing where, like, he's asking about it, and she's like, I don't know. So there's a lot of family drama kind of stuff happening here too in this. It's not bad. I still really love this character. I just don't know about this current arc again. Like, this is not what I was looking forward to with the start of this one. I would have rather all the other stuff instead of like this weird blood thing that's happening with her, quite frankly. So I don't know. I give it a 3.25 just because it wasn't my favorite start to the arc. Is it a good jumping on point? I guess it's just I'm not so into the storyline they're telling so far, so I'll give it that. And then JSA 17, not too much to add to this. This has still been enjoyable. I think Jeff Lemire is doing a great job on this book, and again, he's telling a story in the past, but then halfway through this issue, he actually does like. There's a few pages dedicated to kind of catching us up what's happening in real time because he's been stuck in this past storyline this whole time about the year one of the Justice Society and how they all kind of came together and formed as a team. So you kind of get both of them in this issue. I feel like we're coming to the end of that arc, so that's why they had to catch us up with what's happening in real time and in current day. And at the end of the issue, you find out that Stargirl and somebody else are joining the JSA team now, which is fun. Jeff Johns created the Stargirl character, and she had her own miniseries prior to this series that Jeff Johns did back when he still worked for DC. Jeff Johns did JSA and a Stargirl miniseries before he left. I think that was even after Doomsday Clock. So yeah, he did a couple of things before he left DC Comics. And so he kind of left Jeff Lemire with a lot of interesting things to play with here. So I'm looking forward to see where that goes. So I give this a 3.75 out of 5. I'm still enjoying this. definitely like an old school Justice League story, hence the Justice Society. It is the old characters, the legacy ones. So good stuff. All right, Chris, the Sacrificers 19.
I think this is like part 4 of their 6-issue story here.
Yeah.
And this world isn't in a good place, and it looks like it's just getting worse here. You find out Saluna, she's sort of on her deathbed, and Pigeon has, he has this big plan to make some sort of rain machine and save the world. And his idea is if the world is saved, then it might save Saluna. She's been sort of basically sacrificing herself to kind of just keep this world going. And then, of course, everybody in this world, they've been promised a better world now that it's been without the gods. And it seems out this world is just as bad or even worse now. And they rise up against Saluna and the temple and the gods. And it seems like even Beatrice, I think that's Pigeon's sister, she kind of loses faith in everything, and she, they're just kind of torching all the temples, and they basically make it all the way to the Pigeon's rain machine. And pretty much once he gets this rain machine working, he thinks, okay, I can save the world. I just need one more day. And as he's enacting his plan, that's when Beatrice and her army shows up at his doors and basically just blow up that machine that could save the world.
Yes.
It's like, what the heck?
Yep.
Where do you go from here in this story? I don't know. It's just broken at the end of this.
Yeah.
This Pigeon guy, and just some of the the narration, about this Pigeon character is like, he was born to a family that didn't love him. Like, in those early episodes, I guess since his parents knew that he was going to be the one they got to sacrifice, it seems like they didn't even want to try and bond with him, and just kind of had him out there. So he had a family that never loved him, and he came back to protect them. And now he's trying to protect a world that hates him. Oh, just brutal all the way through. Like,
I don't know. I don't think there's any optimism that exists in this book. I don't see how it's going to end on any good note here. I was talking to another guy. I actually got into the book at my LCS. I had suggested checking this book out to him, and yeah, he picked up all the trades so far, and he's loving it. And I was having this conversation with him the other day. I'm like, I don't see it ending well for these guys.
The only way I can see this end is the world just freaking turns to dust, and that's the end.
It's just like the only thing I'll say about that is like, and I have total faith in Remender in terms of him bringing it home, because I've read many of his things over the years. He's one of my favorite writers. I just don't know if there's going to be a fine point morally to be made here at the end. I don't know how he's going to bring that back around, like where they really went wrong, because he tried to do the right thing in this book. He tried to change things for the better, and it blew up in his face. So I don't know what, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know what the point of it is going to be at the end. It's just like, I don't know if this like vengeance consumes us all, or if it's going to be like something where it's like, you know what I mean? History repeats this. I don't know what the fine point is going to be at the end of this, but I do have faith and Remender to bring it back home. I just think I can't
see it being an optimistic one.
No, it's going to be something like that though. Like it has.
It's going to be like one guy. Oh, I'm ready to try again. It's just hope against, against just like the abyss, really.
Yeah, I just like you said, the fact that they're struggling to get this machine in motion here, so they no longer have to depend on a sun or Saluna to create the sun, and they've been in darkness for God knows how long, and they have no crops because they can't grow anything, and then meanwhile he's stockpiling all the stuff in their place because he has to feed the people that are working on this thing. Once the townspeople found that out, I'm like, oh, this is not going to end well. I'm like, this is not good. So, listen, he's trying to make a means to an end here, and try to figure something out to, to set them up for good, and then they destroy it, so. Oh my God! Crazy book. I honestly. The emotional roller coaster going through this one has been nuts. Good stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you give this?
Yeah, I gotta give it a 4. I I want to give him more, but I think there's more coming.
Yeah, I think that's fair. When I read it, that's what I was thinking too. After talking about it, I almost want to give it like 4.25, though, frankly, but quite frankly, but I think that was 4 out of 5 is fair for this issue. 2 more issues to go, though. Big stuff happening still. Absolute Superman 17.
Oof. I know what they're doing in this absolute world, but between Batman and Superman, this world is hell. Like this one here with Superman, what are they fighting the parasite here?
Yeah.
With Hawkman. So like that wasn't really the big story. It's a decent story, and I think Hawkman is basically trying to get Superman, kind of to realize, hey, don't fight the power, we'll just try and, do what we can to, just to be good for yourself, don't worry about everybody else. Of course, Superman's not into that. And this parasite, basically, it kind of just sucks the energy out of people. And then when it does suck them, it's like, most times if this was, in the main universe, they just be sort of in the, maybe, stuck in the goo. But this one here, when you're in the goo, it's like tearing your eyes open. And, there's one part where Jimmy Olsen's in there and Lois Lane is in front of him. And he's like, kill me now. And, she basically puts the gun to his forehead, but then she can't do it. And then, Superman, I think Hawkman is like, okay, we just got to kill this thing. And if they did, I imagine it would kill everybody that this parasite is sort of absorbed already. And then Superman's like, there's got to be a way I can do this. I can do this. And, that of course has him and Hawkman, at arms. And then Superman basically goes in there and he fights it. And he's worried that if this parasite kind of, feeds off Superman, this thing's going to go crazy, which it ends up doing. And the thing just kind of just going off the rails. But of course, Superman's hope inside there, all those people feel, with Superman's voice in their head, they don't feel afraid so much anymore. And with that lack of fear, it loses the grip of this parasite. And then this parasite basically just kind of collapses on itself. And then I guess they win. And, even Hawkman is like, he's kind of amazed as what happened. And then Superman, he's like, oh, I'm never going to be for sale. You tell Lazarus and all our Lazarus group and all your people to get out of here. And, that's one good story going on. And of course we have, I'll get to that smile there. We have, what's his name? Ra's al Ghul. He's in jail. And I guess in the last issue, Superman basically broke him. And, he was just happy to accept his fate. Talia al Ghul shows up. And he's like, yeah, don't worry. Just leave me here. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. And then, she kind of convinces him, to kind of, get back in the game. And then basically he just walks out. And I think he has a line there, basically, he's Superman, I'm sorry, but, haters got to hate, basically.
Yeah.
I am what I am. And that's it.
Yeah, Popeye the Sailor Man over here. Yeah, he basically, that's what he says, though. He's like, yeah, sorry, I can't change my ways. Like, even though he wanted to, but he got forced out of that cell there, right? Like, he even said, leave me be. But you can't change him,
and then the final story running through this with Lex Luthor. Jeez.
Oh my God.
And Brainiac in there. Like, this Brainiac basically just like, he freaking ties Luthor up to a chair or something and then slaughters everybody whoever's in his life in front of him. And basically says, I hope this wakes you up, and then takes off. It's like, what the heck is that about?
Jason Aaron has been writing this version of the character since he first showed up as a serial killer. Like, that's what he is, honestly. Like, he's this character since he's been introduced in this book. Like, that's what changed the whole, direct. I think he came in issue 8 or 9 or something like that. Once he got introduced this character, I was just like, okay, I got to see what's going on with this guy in this book, because I was almost out on this book, but this character, the right way he's writing this Brainiac is fantastic. He's insane. This guy is it's psychotic. This version of Brainiac. I've never seen a version like this, like hardcore. It's like Jeff Johns, I thought, wrote a really great Brainiac when he was doing some Superman stuff, but this is next level. This
no holds barred.
Yeah.
And wow, that's all I can say about this.
Chainsaws on his arms
Yeah.
that he killed his family, his children. Jesus.
Like that scene there, he's covered in their blood, just blood red everywhere. He's like, what the heck just happened? I was having like a birthday party for somebody.
I think it was his birthday. I think it was his birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday,
Lex.
Yeah, another great issue. I mean, this is another crazy series of this absolute stuff, and I'm kind of disappointed I'm not picking this up in issues, quite frankly. But I mean, this week would have been a good week to jump back in. They reprinted like almost all of the issues, and I saw them out there, but I didn't bite. I'm just like, okay, I'll just wait for
the bank for this stuff. Those early issues, they were garbage. With all that freaking that stuff back on Krypton.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't want to get the reprints, and so I might as well just wait for the collection of this at this point. But I will say, it's another really good, absolute universe book. It's really great. And ever since Juan Ferreira has joined on art duties, the book has gotten even better as a result. Yeah. And he's writing stuff that he's really good at depicting, like horrific between like. What's his name in the Parasite in this issue? Jimmy Olsen. And the ending, like that stuff that this guy is good at drawing, like this horrific kind of stuff as well, right? So it's good stuff. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I gotta give this a 4.25.
Same. Yeah. After talking about it. Good stuff. That ending for sure. I mean, if it wasn't for that ending, maybe I would have given it a 4, but the ending was just put it over the top a little bit for me. Absolute Flash number 12. You said you jumped in with this one.
Yeah, I just jumped in. This had some time, so I thought I'd read it. I looked it up. It was like part 2 of 2 or something. I haven't really seen, I kind of read the first few issues, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. It seems like, who is that? Is that Thrawn, like Reverse Flash or some?
Yep. Reverse Flash, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, it's not no normal size Flash. It's like freaking some kaiju size Flash that's running around destroying everything.
Yeah, because he went into like a dark dimension. He's tapped into some sort of like dark magic dimension or something. That's like
he almost spoke the dark side himself there,
Yes. Yeah. Well, but how like
tapped into this omega energy of this world.
Because how like with Flash they have that like
like the Speed Force.
Speed Force, yeah. So in this one, the twist on it in the absolute universe is that it's a place of like, we're dark, like it's bad, like basically like the place that he's pulling power from. Other versions of the Flash as we know them have traveled over there and haven't survived the experience, including Barry Allen. He's like a ghost there now, essentially. So like Wally West is that's why he kind of looks so different in this version, essentially. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, but it hits all the beats there. His father there, I guess he realizes that Wally West is the Flash, and I'm proud of you, son. You did great. You think everything was done there, but it seems like that Thrawn or whatever his name is, he kind of bursts through the rubble and just takes off, and basically Flash is like, sorry, Dad, I got to go stop him, and he takes off after him, and then his father kind of puts together the team to try and, to help his son or help the Flash out. And it sounds like they just open up some sort of portal or some dimension. Like, I think they call it a still point or something. And Thrawn is standing in front of it. And of course, his dad has to run in there and push him in, and he gets sucked in. So they're stuck in some sort of, pocket dimension or something, or some prison. And then you kind of see what's happening with everybody else. And almost true to form, like in the Batman, like the rogues, they're almost, I don't know if they're portrayed as heroes here, but they weren't exclusively villains. But now you don't know what they're up to. They all kind of group up together and they take off, go, let's grab all this, this high-tech gear and let's get out of here. From now on, we're free agents. I think Gorilla Grodd, well, maybe not Gorilla Grodd, like Baby Grodd was sort of he was introduced in here. And, him and Flash, they seem to get along together. They're both victims, like, I guess, of the Star Labs.
Yeah, they've been friends. Like, he's been with him, like, for the last few issues. They've been, like, on the road together, these two. Yeah.
Well, that's it. And he finds his father.
Yes.
And then they escape, and now it looks like his father's the one that's going to sort of poison his brain or his mind or his way of thinking, because, he's like, oh, there's some bad men out there. We still got to help them.
They're all
And
bad.
his spot is like, oh, all men are bad, and
Yes.
you can just kind of see where Gorilla Grodd's going to go with this if he stays under this influence. So
I know. I was literally. It's interesting, but I was really disappointed by that because I like the baby Grodd. I was like, we didn't really know that there was like an actual other Grodd till this point. So I was just like, oh, I'm like, of course there is the actual Gorilla Grodd at the end here. And it made it interesting, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh man, I don't want him to turn on Wally. You know what I mean? Like the baby.
it's not set in stone, but
Yeah,
it does put a new dimension to their either, if they are enemies or to their relationship,
Well, here we are at the end, though. They say end of year one. And if you guys have been following us talking about these absolute books, we're 12 issues in. This is really where, like, after this period of time, all the absolute books took off like in a crazy way. Like either like halfway through the second arc or at the end of the second arc. Like I feel like all of them really hit their stride. And listen, I think that was a big commitment on their part to actually take their time setting these stories up. A lot of other books, people wouldn't give them that opportunity to kind of get to this point in that sense. So like, I got to give it up to them because this is the one time where I feel like their approach to these books is actually the right approach. You know what I mean?
Marvel tricked them into writing great books somehow. I feel like these absolute books came out as a response to the Ultimate books. When those Ultimate books first came out, they were all on fire. Nobody had any idea that they were going to be dead in 2 years. And, DC comes out there. I imagine they'd had no idea that this Ultimate run would end in 2 years. And they put a lot of effort, and put in some great writers, great artists, and all those stories with the plan to run these out as long as they'd be supported. And what can you do? They're writing great stories. These are going to be supported for a long time.
Yeah.
And, Marvel's probably shooting themselves like, what the heck? What's going on here? We started this and now freaking DC took the ball and is running, not even freaking touchdowns. They're like freaking running multiple touchdowns with this. And, we're killing our universe. What the heck? What did we do? Where did we go wrong? That's crazy.
I know. In retrospect, it really is. But yeah, here we are. I'm happy for it as a fan. Like it's Jeff Lemire's doing a good job on this. I'm happy to see him on one of the absolute books, honestly, because he kind of stepped away from DC years ago, kind of dipped his toe back in here and there, but I didn't know like how it was. Like he was exclusive, and then I think it didn't end well with him at DC. And the fact that he's gone back now and he's finding some success on some new books, I'm happy about it because it's not like he went off and was not successful without them, right? You know what I mean? So, like, if anything, I think it's better for them that he came back and is writing for them again personally, right? It's like the Zdarsky effect when he went back to Marvel, right? So,
like I say, I feel like both of them had sort of lightning in the bottle when they came out with their universes. Fucking Marvel puts the lid on it and freaking snuffs out the lightning. DC freaking shakes the bottle, opens it, and freaking lets it explode.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 4. It's a good story, even just for jumping in out of nowhere.
Yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5 as well. This was a good issue. All right, next up, Batman #7. Now, Chris, you said you didn't pick up your comics here this week, so I think this is worth mentioning. I don't know if you knew about this issue. Do you know about what's in this issue?
Yeah, I heard.
Okay, so there's a double-page spread in it that folds out, so I did want to kind of show that. So
is it the cover? Or I thought it was like a gatefold cover or something.
Okay, so this scene in the comic, okay?
Oh, nice.
Fantastic. Like this whole scene here in the comic, if you guys read it digitally, I'm sure it won't show up that way. Just kind of part of the issue. I gotta tip my cap to them for doing that in this issue. It's a small thing, but again, having a spread like that by what's his name? Jimenez. Great stuff. Yeah. So anyways, go on.
Let's hope John Romita Jr. doesn't get the same idea. That'd be one line all the way through.
Any opportunity to dig John Romita Jr. Come on, Chris. What's wrong with you? Go ahead.
But anyways, but this story, what the heck happened to the Joker? Is this like Fallout from Hush that we don't know about that's going to be coming out in by the end of the next summer or something.
I had the same question, Chris. I don't know where this came from. Clearly, it doesn't even line up with DCKO. All I know is that this is a weird ass Joker in this story.
Like somehow he ends up in freaking some vat, and of course, this doctor that Bruce is dating somehow is the Joker in a vat, and he communicates through mental telepathy on a computer. But anyway, you put that out of there.
Batman, I am in this vat. Like just the way I'm thinking it, like it's typing it out almost on the screen.
Yeah. And then, so I guess he asks her, he convinces somebody to get Batman to come talk to him. And then of course they have this ultra secure floor that he can only wear his shoes, or he can't wear his shoes. Yeah. And if he stands outside the box, like, come on, get out of here. But anyways, they that seems to be, maybe it'll be important in issues down the road. But then either way, it's all this, I guess the Joker and the Batman just, exploring their pseudo relationship or something. And I don't think they should ever do this. It was done in Lego Batman, and that's about the best way it's ever going to be done. And they just leave that story alone. But here they're exploring that story, and it seems like Joker is saying, "Oh, Batman, you're the only guy that's been there, and if you think about it, I'm the only guy that's been there ever for you. Let's whatever, let's be friends or something. I don't know." But otherwise, it's kind of crazy.
I dug this a lot, and I like the fold out aspect of it with the gatefold that they did, and I like whatever state he's in right now. That's interesting. And also the fact that, again, we've seen so many different Joker stories. They're always trying to find new angles for what had happened here. In this one, you're getting the fact that he knows that how manipulative and controlling and everything he is, and he's actually acknowledging that. And for the first time, it sounds like, at least in his speech through whatever this computer is, or telepathically, or whatever the hell he's talking to him, like that, through it. Is it telepathically that he's talking to him, or on a monitor? It seems
like on a monitor, but I guess he. It's either he's got some electrodes in his brain that allows him to type.
Right. So that whole part of it is kind of interesting to me. And for him to have to be cognizant enough to realize, at least so he claims. Again, this is going back to I feel like how this series started, where Batman basically was ready to give up on the nature of criminals because of all of his experiences dealing with them, and he doesn't feel like these guys deserve a second chance, some of them. And then I feel like they're kind of revisiting that theme a little bit here, where he's convinced whatever his bullshit he tells me, he's entertaining it basically.
He's just waiting for the shoe to drop, basically. Okay, right. what's the play here?
Right. And then there's this part where he asks for the doctor for 30 seconds alone to tell Bruce basically some secret between him and he basically gives him a heads up, someone is out there to kill you in the world. And he's like, yeah, listen, this is a regular Tuesday for me. I'm Batman. Of course somebody's trying to kill me. And he's like, no, not you, Bruce. And that's the way they end the issue. So I'm still thoroughly enjoying this. I think it's really well written. I think Matt Fraction's doing a good job. If it wasn't for Absolute Batman essentially overshadowing the market because of the Absolute stuff going on, I think a lot more people would be talking about how good the Batman run is. I think it's kind of getting overshadowed unfairly, kind of, honestly, at this point, because this has gotten really good, this series. I do like it a lot. And Jimenez, again, just one of the best artists out there. We talk about, again, how DC's been kind of had the one up on Marvel as of lately, even in terms of some of the artists working for them. This guy's amazing. So
I think it's gotten a lot more interesting these last couple issues.
Absolutely.
Versus the first 2 or 3 issues.
Yeah, the last 3 or 4 issues have been really solid. Yeah, I agree with you. It was a slow start, but I think, again, that's the thing. We kind of gave that allowance to Absolute Batman. I've talked to a lot of people that said the first arc of Absolute Batman was fine, but it wasn't until after that he really kind of kicked itself into high gear. I think that's what we're seeing now with this series as well. So yeah. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4, though. It was great art, and the story is kind of funny and fun, and it's very comic-y, and that's what you want out of a comic.
Absolutely. I'm going to give it a little bit more. I'll give it 4.25. But I think it's because I had that physical issue in my hands, Chris, where I was able to unfold.
I thought you had a foot fetish and you got to see Batman's feet.
That too. All right. Wolverine number 17.
Ah, crap. Like, what is this? Like every freaking trope that is out there and it's done poorly. You know, where you first you have these two kids, whatever, just kind of roaming through the forest, and then they get attacked, and it's freaking whatever. It's Wolverine. Oh, you guys got to stay on your toes a bit better. You know, and then they have I guess they have some scene with Sable and Wolverine getting a little fancy again.
Yeah.
And then you got the guy, oh, I'm looking for Wolverine. I'm the adamantine. What? Get out of here.
Yeah, I also didn't know that poor excuse of Alpha Flight was going to move through the book already so fast. I thought they were going to be around for a little bit longer. I don't know. They're like in the mix, but like this current arc is so strange. Like he's literally just living off the land in some weird reserve that these people are living on, and like they're going to continuously get attacked by whomever comes by there. It seems like it's Silver Sable's there for some reason. This is the weirdest of places for this book to have gone. I don't know what's going on in this title. And I kind of got dragged back in between the Panosian covers and the fact that even that last artist, Mike Henderson, isn't even on this anymore. Like the art changed again with this issue. So like, I don't know, with this issue, it gave me like another reason not to read it. Like it changed up everything that I felt like it had going for it with this storyline. The only constant is Silver Sable still there with them and these kids, which I could care less about. So I don't know. I don't know. I may not come back again next issue. Actually, I think next issue I am, because I think I have that cover.
Yeah, it's a nice Panosian cover with freaking Wolverine. I bought that one, I think. I got that on my pull list.
I got that too. And a close-up of Wolverine's face by Panosian. Yeah, so I'm in for at least one more issue on this. But once again, I think this series is going nowhere fast. That's interesting. So
yeah, I almost feel, whenever they get a hot artist that does a series of covers, it's almost guaranteed the book's going to be trash.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. And then he fights like a bug man here. I forgot, like, what is going on in this book? And then, yeah, at the end, you get
doesn't he like break through through sheer force of will or something? Yeah.
And then, of course, every issue we get in the last couple of pages of the Adamantine is coming. Watch out. Now he knows he's preying on them as they're sleeping together. He's like, him and Silver Sable are in bed. He's like,
I don't want to say anything about this. Reminds me of the Dave Chappelle show there when they do the real world.
Yes.
He's sleeping with the white guy's girlfriend.
Yes.
And then, what's his name in the back filming? It's all with the green light.
Yes.
Lysol and the other guy.
Yeah, he's cucking her. He's like just watching
it. Cuck there.
That's what the Admantine's doing there.
I see you, Wolverine. Oh, I caught you at a bad time. Maybe I'll hang out for a bit longer, see what's happening.
I love the moment of her getting out of the water in this in her swimsuit, though. She's like, hey.
I'm just swimming some lengths in the river, even though I'm stuck out in the wilderness, trying to survive. But yeah, I'm gonna go swim upriver upstream for a few hours.
And they don't shy away from it at all. The students are like, "Oh, let's go look in the woods again." He like pounces on him right away. Hilarious. What'd you give this?
3.25.
Yeah, agreed. X-Men 26.
Yeah, this Niko Diaz, I don't mind. I think the art is decent in here.
I was gonna say that, Chris. He's kind of tapping into like some of the '90s style stuff
He's
going
finding
on.
his legs in this book. Maybe they should have given more time. Maybe they should have told him, "Hey, Niko, this is your comic. This isn't, the bait and switch they gave us with Ryan Stegman." Like, does anybody even remember that he was on this comic, or is he ever coming back to it?
Well, that's the thing. Niko Diaz now is basically doing his best like he's almost like a clone. Like he's not like Stegman all the time, but there's certain scenes where I look at it and I'm like, that could be Stegman's art there, honestly. Like there's certain stuff that he does that's very Stegman-ish in terms of his style. Like it's like he definitely is tapping into that same type of style somewhat. But yeah, go on.
I think it's growing on me, but it's not quite there yet. these stories they're better than this Alaska stuff when they're whatever they were doing in Alaska before. I don't even know what they're doing now. I wish they'd get back to this Age of Apocalypse sort of fallout, which they don't even seem to reference here, which you think would be the biggest thing on their playbook, or on their agenda. Let's say, we don't do things right here. I think Doug Ramsey's going to take over the world and kill it. But no, we're gonna take care of just local business here for now. So,
no, I'm with you. I agree. There is some interesting things going on here between the art, between some of the storyline. Like I said earlier, I do think this is better than his Avengers run. It's inconsistent, but he does find moments of stuff I am enjoying still throughout. Again, this has been like a roller coaster in terms of like one arc's been good, one hasn't been, one issue has been good, the other one hasn't been. Like it's been kind of like that throughout the whole run. But there is still enough kind of interesting for me to kind of check back in on this. I'm really worried about Glob Herman by the end of this issue, though. I was really, I don't know what the hell happened there. He's just selling his vegetables that he grew for cheap. And it looks like he might have got killed at the end of this issue. I don't know. He at least got shot. So I don't know how you actually.
It'll be fine. He turns into a freaking assassin in 10 years.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It didn't look good for him at the end of this issue, but but you're right. It's weird. The small town kind of storylines they got going on with it just seems like they don't know what to do with the team at this point.
Yeah. It's like, we'll have the X-Men hide in Alaska for a while till we know what's going on.
Whatever happened to them actually fighting traditional villains? Like, I don't know.
Well, the Danger Room coming back. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a person or if it's the actual Danger Room from their mansion as acquired sentience and has taken over a body or something, and it's coming back to get them.
Yeah. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5. It is better than it's been, but it's still not great.
Yeah, I agree. 3.5. And then finally, we got Amazing Spider-Man number 23. I got 2 covers for this one. I got the regular. Ed McGuinness, I think, did that one, and got the Ivan Talavera.
Yeah, they better pull that cover for me. That's a nice cover.
This one was like a last minute. They keep doing that shit where like I don't see the image for some of these, and then I'm like, I sometimes I don't want to blind buy these things because I'm like, I don't know what they're going to be drawing the artist. But as soon as I heard about this one, I had to like slip in the last minute pre-order on this, so I'm glad I got it. Yeah,
I'll buy his covers blind. Kerry Andrews covers I'll buy blind. There's a few artists out there I'll buy blind covers.
Ivan Talavera, I don't always buy blind because I don't know who he's going to be drawing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some of the characters I don't care for him to draw, right?
Well, it depends if it's an issue that I'm following. Like, I won't get him if he's doing Iron Man or something. I'm not going to buy a Ivan Talavera Iron Man, but
right.
Spider-Man, I'll get it all day. But anyways, this issue here, good things, bad things. I don't know if I'm going to be in the minority of the things that I liked, because I do like Peter Parker getting back into his world and finding how everything is messed up. I suppose I should be, more intrigued of this Carnage story and Tempest or whatever he's up to. I could really care less about what's going on in there. I do like, I think we have Venom and Spider-Man basically teaming up to fight. I think it's the Shocker or something. And even just, first of all, the Shocker saying, you put me in the hospital. I'm not really, Spider's like, what the hell do you mean I put you in the hospital? I didn't do anything like that. And then, and then at that same time, he's trying to talk to Venom, thinking it's Eddie Brock because he got some like secret message from Eddie Brock. And, they kind of, they put the boots to whoever they were fighting. And then it's revealed, then Mary Jane sort of reveals herself to Peter that she's Venom, which she already told him. So it's just so confusing as to what he knows and what she thinks he knows and what he doesn't know. And I don't know if he actually I think he does tell her that, hey, I got punched out of this world here. I haven't been around for how long. I have no idea what's going on. I'm back now. And, what's been happening? How did you end up being Venom? And then just like the scenes, where you seem like almost hyperventilating. I thought that was hilarious. And then, she goes, well, how did I become Venom? Well, I died. And Venom had, we had to bond together. And he's like, whoa, time out, you died. And then she kind of keeps on going with this story, and he's still hung up that she's died, that she was dead or something. I thought that was all great, and I want to see how this is all going to sort of pan out. I think they left the relationship with Mary Jane and Peter Parker in a very odd place, and I'd like to see how they work it out. And somehow the Shocker dies in here somehow. Does Tempest kill him, or?
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess I don't know, not really the big reveal, but why Peter Parker was trying to talk to Venom is that Carnage knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and that would mean trouble for everybody in his life, I guess.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I remember we were complaining about the fact that we thought they shortchanged us on the story of Peter's return to Earth from that whole storyline. And they kind of let it linger for a couple of issues prior to this actual event. So I'm really glad that they have dedicated the time they have to that storyline and seeing these moments in the first part of this story so far, with all this other kind of darker shit happening in the background so far and building up. But I have liked that stuff. I gotta say though, this is like a weird sexual issue. Like, is Aunt May's talking about having sex in this issue?
Get out of here with that. What's that?
That was bizarre. Like that she mentioned about having sex with her new guy there, and then again, like it's not like we haven't seen this before. There was like a weird sexual tension between the symbiote and him when he showed back up and he's talking to Mary Jane and he's like, "Do you want me inside of you?" or something like that. Can you feel like he says something about like being inside of him or Peter being inside of the symbiote? Like there's like a
I thought you want to have a threesome.
Yeah, it was very strange, but that actually was less strange than the Aunt May part. Yeah. Because we've seen that before. Like there was that whole mini series I remember that Craig Land drew that we talked about, where that's the whole fucking story. It's about him in his head, like some sexual relationship with the symbiote. Because the way that they are referencing it, because they're always like been together and all this kind of stuff.
That's what you read into it. I didn't. I think it's just somebody getting their suit back on.
Yeah, right. That's what's going on. There's a sexual undertone there between the suit and him, Chris. Don't lie. That's what I read the comics for. Anyways, I liked all that stuff and the way that Carnage there, the way he left it, when it looks like he killed the Shocker at the end. I guess we'll see what happens. Not Carnage, sorry. That other guy. What's his name? The new killer dude?
Torment or something. It's to know that.
Tempest.
How easy it is to figure out who Torment is.
Is it Torment or Tempest? I can't remember.
Tempest, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I have no idea who he is.
What'd you give this?
I can only give it a 3.75, though. It's still not great stuff.
Same.
It's fun stuff.
I think it's entertaining, but yeah, it's at the end of the day. Yeah, we'll see how, where that goes. All right, Chris, what are you reading next week? March 11th, 2026. That's it for this week.
Oops. What do I do here? Okay.
Decent week of stuff, though. Not bad.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty light week. I was like searching for stuff to read.
Yeah, that's why I read the annual of X-Men. That's why I read there's a couple of things I read that I kind of just went out of my way here. Batgirl. But it wasn't bad.
Let's see here. Let me load some stuff up. Yeah, March 11th. This X-Men United, I saw some preview for this.
Yeah.
They're going to be freaking living in, it's going to be kind of, I think they all meet up in a virtual world. Like they go through these gates and it's all kind of all together by Emma Frost. I'll probably read it. I'm glad I didn't put it on my pre-list or whatever. I pulled it. Magic and Colossus 2. We'll see what's going on there. That's a pretty small week for freaking Marvel next week, too. I'll try reading this Alias Red Band. You had some good things to say about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And, well, I don't know. Did I even... I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, the Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant. Might read that as well. I think that's all I had there. Is there more going on in Marvel?
Black Cat.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And Venom.
Oh, I don't see that on my...
Well, that's weekly. The Death Spiral thing's weekly, right? So Venom
there it is. Yeah, sorry. I was more down.
Black Cat as well. number 8.
I don't know. I don't have that on my list. I don't have that on.
Unless something changed. I mean, unless it got pushed back. But I last time I checked, it was here.
Maybe yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I have a Black Cat 8. Yeah.
DC got Absolute Batman 18. Definitely going to read that. Is that a Supergirl? No, I don't have a Supergirl cover. Oof. Oh, Sirens, Love Hurts, number 2. That's it for that. Yes. Looks like it might be a small week. Good. Get some cash finally.
Yeah. Small week.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing out of Image.
Transformers.
Oh, what? I don't know what the heck's going on with these league content.
Absolute Batman 18. These are things I'm picking up. Transformers 30, Ninja Turtles 16, Black Cat number 8. I think I have both the Adam Hughes and the Carrie Andrews connecting cover for that one. That's the second part of that. Venom 255, Sirens Love Hurts 2, Harley Elvira 5.
Ooh, nice.
Tigress Island number 1 from Image. Ordained number 2 from Bad Idea. That's the comics I'm picking up. Digitally, I don't know if I might check out the X-Men United for the show at the very least. Yeah, maybe Magic Colossus, like you said. Oh, and Alias Red Band number 1. Yeah, that and Storm. I think that's pretty much it, though, at least for Marvel. I don't know if this actually comes out next week, but on this list I'm looking at, it says Hulk Smash Everything 4.
Yeah, I thought I saw that there. So
that I'll check out. And then the Seasons comes back. The Seasons 9 also is on next week from Image. So yeah, that looks to be about.
You know where we left that world at Seasons.
I know it has been a while. So
like attacking our house or something.
Yeah, she was like on the
something.
She was on the run. Yeah, I remember she was kind of. Some of the sisters, I think, got like something happened to some of them, I think, and then like the main one that we were following, Summer or Fall, whatever her name is, like I think, yeah, it left in a very crazy place though, like the storyline. So hopefully we can jump back into that one. But yeah, that's it for what we're looking forward to checking out next week for March 11th. So again, another smaller size week, but we'll see what else we can cook up and talk about here. All right, Chris, your favorite book of the week.
I do have a few there. I did enjoy that the Spider-Man one, but that can't be no favorite. Sacrifices was good, but I'm gonna have to give it to Absolute Superman. Just that Brainiac and Lex Luthor story. Oof, that was crazy.
It was definitely in contention for my favorite of the week. I'm just looking it over here. Yeah, it might be that. I'm going to go Batman 7, actually. I'm going to go Batman 7. It's between Absolute Superman 17 and Batman 7. I'm going to go Batman 7 for this one. Yeah, I think so. I've just been really liking the direction of this book lately overall. All-Star Superman, though, it left me at that ending. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I switched my. I have to. The way that ended was just crazy. I mean, if it wasn't for that ending, I would give it to Batman. But I gotta go.
Batman. So does that mean that Joker knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good and bad. I do enjoy that the story of the lore that the Joker doesn't even want to know who Batman is. Because he just wants Batman as Batman. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't care about Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. No, you know what? No, I'm going to pick this. Let's spread out the love. The gatefold, the art, the Jimenez art on the gatefold, too, I have to. I was pretty impressed by that. I have to. Both really good books. So there you go, guys. I feel like we both hit on some of the best stuff that came out this week here. But yeah, I'm interested to see. Like, you make a good point. I'm interested to see what happens with this Joker. It's one of those things, though. We've just seen so many Joker stories. Like, I think that this is getting underplayed once again by the Absolute stuff that's going on too. I met him. The last few issues have been exceptional for this series, so I'm gonna give the nod to Batman number 7. So good stuff. there you have it, guys. Those are our favorites of the week. Make sure to tune in next week, March 11th, comics that we're going to talk about then. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you to Chris as always, and we'll see you guys later.
Later.